wind 0907, clear takeoff 07 right.
Clear takeoff runway 07 right, Singapore is 61.
Welcome to the second episode of the Canadian Aviator. In this video we will go through more of the basic parts and components of an airplane and its instrumentation. Whether you are simply interested in aviation, you are seeking to obtain your Canadian commercial pilot license, or are studying for your practical or written exam, this video is for you. Be sure to watch to the end, as I will be sharing questions similar to the ones that you might encounter on any written or practical exam. We have here a model of an airplane, and as a pilot that will start flying, you will need to know what these parts are called. In the next few videos I will go through all of these different parts in more detail as you continue to study. I will not be reviewing the parts already visited in episode 1. Starting with the wings, we have flaps and ailerons. Do not confuse flaps, which are on the inside part of the wing, with ailerons, which help us bank and turn and are located way out on the outside trailing edge of the wing. In fast aircraft, spoilers are used to destroy lift generated by the aircraft in order to slow down after landing. Here on the vertical stabilizer we have the rudder. It controls the side-to-side motion, or yaw. On the horizontal stabilizer we have the elevator, which controls pitch movements. And that's it, a basic introduction to the parts of an airplane. Let's call the name of few instruments in the cockpit. I will be using a Diamond DA-20 Katana for illustrative purposes, which reflects any general aviation aircraft. I will go into more detail in my future episodes. Let's start from the most important and interesting instruments. The airspeed indicator. This instrument displays the speed you are flying through the air, and it shows your airspeed in knots. The attitude indicator is a representation of the airplane in three-dimensional space. It tells you if the aircraft is banking right or left, or pitching up or down. Marks are in degrees of a plane angle. The altimeter. The altimeter measures the height of the aircraft above sea level, based on the outside barometric pressure in inches of mercury. The vertical speed indicator, which tells you the rate your aircraft is going up or down in feet per minute. The heading indicator. It needs to be set to the compass and indicates the direction the aircraft is heading in degrees of a plane angle. The turn coordinator indicates the rate of turn of the aircraft, and the inclinometer indicates the quality of the turn in terms of slips and skids. Moving to the right of the cockpit, we have the circuit breakers, which protects the electrical components of the airplane. The tachometer, similar to one in a car, measures the number of revolutions per minute that the aircraft engine is turning. The unit of measurement is RPM. The manifold pressure gauge, which measures the negative pressure inside the induction system of an engine. Here's some random engine gauges used to monitor the engine performance, and not all the light general aviation aircraft will have these gauges. This particular airplane, the DA-20, has the oil pressure indicator, the oil temperature indicator, the voltmeter, the CHT or cylinder head temperature, in this case in degrees Fahrenheit, the ammeter, and one fuel gauge for the single tank the DA-20 is equipped with. Typically, you find 2 fuel gauges in a light aircraft, 1 per tank. The Hubs meter is used in aviation to measure the time that an aircraft is in use. The meters typically display hours and tenths of an hour. For navigation instruments, we have a course deviation indicator. In other airplanes, you might find a VOR, or Very High Frequency Omnidirectional Range, or an ADF, Automatic Direction Finder, which are becoming less and less common in aviation. In order for any of the navigation instruments to work, we need a radio to tune them in and also for communication. Here we have a KX165, a typical general aviation radio which is split into different parts, COM and NAV. COM, which stands for communication, is used to talk back and forth to other pilots or controllers. NAV stands for navigation, and the radio will be linked to the relative instrument. In this case, it is the course deviation indicator. On one side, it shows the frequency of the active radio. Then, right beside, that is the standby frequency. By pressing the button below, the pilot can switch between the 2 frequencies very quickly. Here we have a Bendix King KLN90B as per GPS unit. Every GPS is different, so you need to follow the manual for your specific model. You might see different models in your aircraft, like Garmin or Avidyne. This DA-20 has also a KAP-140 single-axis autopilot, having only heading control. It's a very rare instrument on light airplanes. The transponder. Basically, what this does is tell the controller where you are and in certain models at what altitude you are. If the controller asks you to dial a specific code, the transponder has little knobs where you can do it. The flap selector. It adjusts the flap setting. The ignition starter, to crank the engine of the aircraft. The master switch. When it is in the on or off position, it controls the entire electrical system of an aircraft. The avionic master powers the radio. The throttle makes your engine go. The mixture allows you to change the amount of fuel and air you are mixing into the carburetor. And then you have general miscellaneous switches or items like air vents, outside air temperature displays, power to the fuel pump, position lights, strobe, taxi and or landing lights, fuel prime system, panel dimming rheostat, a microphone jack, placards, warning lights and general utility switches for things like the cabin light. Here ends the introduction about aircraft parts and cockpit instruments. Now, as promised at the beginning of this video, let's go through a few questions related to the information presented in the video. These are the types of questions that could be asked by your instructor, by Transport Canada on the written exam or by your flight examiner during your practical test. Which instrument is used to measure the speed of aircraft? A. The tachometer. B. The vertical speed indicator. C. The airspeed indicator. Or D. The heading indicator. The correct answer is C. The airspeed indicator. The airspeed indicator or airspeed gauge is a flight instrument indicating the speed of an aircraft in knots. Next question. How are air traffic controllers able to see your aircraft in flight? A. By the transponder. B. By the GPS. C. By the autopilot. Or D. By the nav system of the radio. The correct answer is A. By the transponder. Aircraft have transponders to assist in identifying them on air traffic control radar. If you find this video beneficial or if you enjoy the content, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to my channel. And if you have any comments or questions, let me know down below. For now, fly safe, stay tuned, and thanks for watching.